Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got a brand new Black Knight deck guide for you guys today. We're going to be playing Redshift First Steps Galactus with no Agatha. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So in case you guys did not know, Redshift is one of the brand new Series 4 cards that did release this week. That is a 2-cost, 3-powered card. On reveal, discard the leftmost card in your hand and add a random card with the same cost to your hand as well. We're using Redshift in a Victoria Hand style deck because you are generating a new card, which goes with Victoria Hand, and you're also running it in Black Knight. In Black Knight, the Ebony Blade is a created card in your hand, which also works with Victoria Hand. And then we also have Galactus First Steps in here, which is the brand new Season Pass card. And this is just another big power scaler we have in this list to offset the Infinite in order to have either better Ebony Blade charges or shards or blades, whichever you want to call it, or to just be able to drop towards the end of the game. It really just depends on what you're looking at. Of course, we do have Valentina as another generation for 6 drops, which is also a created card for your Victoria Hand. We do also have Iron Patriot to be able to generate cards here too, which also is a pretty good card to use with your First Steps Galactus, because you can play your First Steps Galactus card, your Herald, on one lane and your Iron Patriot on another, and your opponent has to choose between either going for the Iron Patriot lane or the First Steps Galactus lane. They have to kind of keep in mind which one do they want to scale and which one do they want to stop from getting discounted. And then, of course, we are also running Frigga. Frigga is in this list to either copy the Ebony Blade, copy even like a Ghost Rider, or potentially another discard enabler. Potentially even using this on Victoria Hand. It really just depends on what your matchup is going into it, but using Frigga as kind of an out, which I really like in this deck itself. And then, of course, for tech pieces, we are going to have Juggernaut as our tech card to be able to kind of offset any Shang-Chi's or Shadow Kings that might be coming our way. We do have Juggernaut to stop that. Now, taking a look at the deck on screen, we got Black, Red, and Handsy because it is Black Knight, Redshift, and Victoria Hand. And the info for this deck, of course, will be down in the description below if you guys do want the deck code. So far, this deck has taken me to the 90s, and we've been kind of climbing in the 90s right now. It was a long stream yesterday, and we got some bad RNG, but like you guys got to think, with a combo deck like this, you're not always going to have the best RNG, which is why I wanted to have 2 different potential lines here, the Victoria Hand line and then also the Black Knight line, to be able to help kind of counteract what might occur. And I think once you get past that and you understand the lines more, you get your snap conditions a lot better. Some of the main snap conditions, of course, are going to be Black Knight into a Lady Sif Infinite, because then you're guaranteed to be able to get a 20-powered Ebony Blade, which in a lot of matchups you are going to do really well in, as well as having some good Victoria Hand kind of generation here. Like if Iron Patriot gets you a good card, Valentina gets you a good card, especially into your matchup, can also be a potential snap condition. Black Knight into Redshift is another snap condition too, because it gives you another 6-drop, and it also gives you the Ebony Blade, whether that is First Steps Galactus or into an Infinite. Just be able to get that Redshift out is really solid. And Redshift you're using in this list as just another potential combo piece for your discard, and it also goes with your Victoria Hand. That's kind of why you have it in here, because there's been instances, I feel like, with Black Knight when it comes to consistency, where your bigger card goes to the far left, you never draw Lady Sif. All you have is Blade, so you don't get the value for Black Knight, which is why I really like having Redshift in this deck. But let's go ahead and break down why we have each card in this list individually. So starting off first and foremost, it's Black Knight. We're playing Black Knight. Black Knight, of course, the first card you discard while Black Knight is on the board. That card's power gets turned into the Ebony Blade, which is a 4-cost card, which is a created card, which works with Victoria Hand. Next, you do have Blade. Blade is a targeted discard card. There's a lot of instances, of course, where you're waiting to use this with Black Knight, or if you have the big scaler already set up, you should just go ahead and discard that with Blade. Because when you look at it in entirety, especially when it comes to something like an Infinite, you're more often than not going to be skipping turn 5 to be able to play Infinite. The only instance you may waver is potentially if you have Galactus and you're trying to make it so you can play Galactus a little bit later in the game, but you have other card generators and ways to get through. You kind of want to be able to make sure you have at least something for Ghost Rider. And I think that's another main thing. If you have Ghost Rider in your hand, totally feel free to go ahead and Blade away. Especially, you know, if you have Black Knight into Blade and it's a big card, that's pretty much a snap condition. But I would be pretty more free to kind of just Blade more often than not, just because I feel like with what you have going on in this list, it's okay to Blade early. Also, blading early makes them kind of think you're playing Hela opposed to Black Knight. So I do like Blade in that sense, but of course, the preferred line is going to be Black Knight Blade. Next, of course, we have Iron Patriot. You're using Iron Patriot as a card generation card for your Victoria hand. Yeah, for your Victoria hand. Valentina Victoria hand are both in this deck, so it's kind of confusing me a little bit there. But you're using this for your Victoria hand, and you're using this as an offset of your Herald. You can use this as a Herald, depending on if you have, high-powered cards in your hand to kind of make sure you can guarantee the lane. Like Iron Patriot into Lady Sif is pretty strong into a lot of these different matchups, which I really do like to help you kind of guarantee the lane there. That 5 power on Sif helps. But I like also using this as an alternate. So like you have your Valentina on one lane and then you use Iron Patriot on a different lane. It really depends on if you have the Herald. If you have a Herald out, you play this on a different lane than your Herald. So your opponent has to fight, like I said, for either the Herald lane or for the Iron Patriot lane, which I like actually really well. Next, of course, we have Redshift. Redshift in this list is either for a late game, using this to be able to discard a big card and then Ghost Rider that card. So instead of having to do like a Lady Sif Ghost Rider, which you would have had to have extra energy to be able to do that, you can now potentially do Redshift in a Ghost Rider. Helps to give you a couple different outs. Since it does target the leftmost card in your hand, in some instances you're not having the combo pieces you need until like the end of the game, so you're able to kind of use Redshift as an out there, or you're using this to give you some more generation. There's some instances where you may be discarding a 3-cost card to potentially get some Victoria hand value, just so you can kind of maybe play that later, or just using that to discard. Like I think realistically you're using it to discard towards the end of the game, or just to mitigate your hand space a little bit. And then, of course, you do have Valentina, generates a 6 cost. If you don't have any 6 costs, this helps you give one of those. It also is a created card in your hand, so it works with Victoria hands. I've had a lot of instances where this is going to be duds, and then I've had a lot of instances where it's going to be really strong cards. So it's been really nice to be able to kind of use this. Again, we all stand for Valentina here. Next, of course, we have Victoria Hand. We have different card generations, whether it's Iron Patriot, Frigga, Valentina, the Ebony Blade, Redshift. We have at least 5 different generations for cards to be able to get you some Victoria Hand value. Next, we do have the Juggernaut. Juggernaut is our combo card in the sense of it is a tech card. Combo tech card, right? Because that's totally a thing. No, I was joking there saying it was a combo card. It's really just a tech card we're using to kind of protect ourselves, and kind of it just helps you kind of solidify lanes or just win lanes overall in general, making it so your opponents can't play cards there because your Juggernaut just moves them all away. So Juggernaut works really well here in this list as our tech piece. Maybe it could be like a Cosmo instead. Also, if you don't have like a Valentina, or maybe even like an Iron Patriot, I would go for just some other form of card generation. Right now, Mirage would not be a bad shout since a lot of people are running low-powered cards, and into some of these matchups, getting that card to be able to get a Victoria hand buff is pretty nice. And then, of course, you do also have Frigga. Frigga, of course, copies either some of those created cards or your Victoria hand, or even some of those generated cards. You get a couple more generated cards, so you have a bunch of generation just floating around the board, so your opponent has to be like, what did they actually generate kind of thing. Then you have Lady Sif. Lady Sif discards, the highest cost card in your hand. We're using this more often than not just for your Infinite or for your First Steps Galactus. There's not really another card I think that just gets targeted as well by Lady Sif, but like I said earlier, Black Knight into Lady Sif and into an Infinite more often than not is going to be a snap condition just because of how much power that is. Next, of course, you have Ghost Rider. Whenever a card is discarded, it goes into your discard pile, and then Ghost Rider pulls a card from your discard pile. If you have multiple cards in your discard pile, Ghost Rider, of course, has to choose between one of those. You're not guaranteed to get one of those if you have multiple cards in your discard pile. So more often than not, you're not really going to be using, discarding too many cards to kind of offset your Ghost Rider. But there are instances you might actually see in the video where you actually Frigga your Ghost Rider, so you can actually get 2 different summons from Ghost Rider, which has been really nice. Of course, also think about the brand new card this week is going to be Stardust, and Stardust does counter this. So keep that in mind in some of these matchups. Some of my opponents have been snapping me into Stardust onto the Ghost Rider, which makes sense because it does hard counter what's going on here. Just keep that in mind when you look at some of these matchups. And then you have First Steps Galactus, of course. Whenever you play a card that Galactus sees you play, so Galactus in your hand, the first card you play, think of Iron Patriot. The first card you play, Galactus, that becomes Galactus' Herald, and then you have to be winning that location for Galactus to get power. So that's pretty much just how that works. And then if you don't have First Steps Galactus, you could do Hulkling, you could do Giganto, just something with like big power. Hulkling is a really good surprise card. I think you could use that could give you some also power too. Just kind of like think of that when it comes to this. And then of course, Infinite. This is just pretty much just a card to get discarded. That is the main point of Infinite here, is just to get discarded, to be turned into an Ebony Blade, or just to get revived with your Ghost Rider. But yeah, that's going to be the gist of the overview of the deck. We're going to go ahead and jump right into some gameplay from stream. If you guys do enjoy the gameplay, definitely feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Let me know down below what version of Black Knight have you been playing. Have you been playing the Agatha version, which I think probably a lot of people have been playing with the Redshift, which makes a lot of sense. I didn't really want to do Agatha. I want to do something different. I don't hate Agatha by any means, so we'll probably test some Agatha on stream tonight. But that's going to be the gist of the deck. I will see you guys at the end of the video. Blump! How we doing, bro? Yes, deck buff is amazing, bro. Love me some deck buff. How we doing, Blump? How we doing, baby? Aha! Yo, that's cool. The animation's nice. Redshift hits Agatha. Oh, that animation is so good. That animation is so good. I'm glad that we actually have Frigga here, too. Frigga here is actually really nice. It didn't give you the pass. I've heard actually a lot of people are running into that issue right now, Blump. I have heard that a lot of people are running into that issue. So that is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. All right. I'm going to go... What the flip is a Redshift. It is the brand new Series 4 card that came out today. Yo, Brickstick Link, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back to Royalty. Thank you for 4 months of royalty, bro. 4 months of royalty. Actually, Agatha's going right there, right? Yeah, no, I love Redshift being out. It is so awesome. It is so awesome. We get Helicarrier. Okay, so we're not going to get our Herald buff there, which is just good to note. No Herald buff. Okay. We do get Infinite. I do this. This is interesting. I think it's that, actually. They Fenris, Sif. There's Helicarrier. They're gonna like Cannonball, probably. I lose to... If I go Jug... Redshift... I think it's this. I think it's just this here. I lose to their Jug left. Lady Deathstrike. That's unfortunate. Okay. Okay. Blade would have been 1 extra power. That is true. That is true. Let's freaking go. But we're doing Victoria Hand Frigga stuff here. They're doing end of turn stuff. Yeah, 3-cost Blade. Yeah, 3-cost Blade would be interesting. That is true. Now I see what you're saying. We get Victoria Hand. We'll go Frigga. We'll go Frigga here, I get. What is this game? Okay. This is interesting. They have the Sue. All right. Robo with the 27 months. Yo, Robo. Thank you so much for the resub, my friend. Welcome back to Royalty, bro. I mean, I lose to just, like, Prodigy there. Is there a world where I do this and I'm just trying to spread power as much as possible? Or maybe it's Frigga? Oh, my gosh. Wow. This is going to be a freaking game, bro. This is gonna be a freaking game. Holy smokes. Boom. Boom. Okay, this is this. Oh man. This, that. This is winnable. This is winnable. I think does it only add the 6 power? It adds 10. Okay. Wait, Iron Patriot into Namora. This comes down. Onslaught on top of the Victoria hand. They Prodigy. Dancing with the Dex Raid? Yo, let's freaking go. Oh my gosh. The thing is, are they going to have enough energy? Ooh! Ooh! Okay. So, I go this. This is more power. How big is this Havoc about to get? This Havoc is going to get huge, right? I think it's this, though. I think I go up to huge power. This goes right. Ooh, okay. Thena, Havoc. Do we win this? I think we beat Thena. I think we do beat Thena here. So, Thena's 18. Sweet. Sweet. And does Bob, wait, does Bob doesn't move though, right? I would have had to jump, I would have had to snap for Bob to get nuked, right? So maybe I could have snapped as well. Maybe if I had snapped, that could have also been better for Bob to move to his tower. But that was pretty cool. Against the Invisible Woman first step deck. We'll take it forward with this, right? We're going to go Valentina instead of Victoria Hand to start here. Because I don't want them necessarily know that we're a Victoria Hand deck just yet. Nico ×2. Okay. Get Apocalypse. Apocalypse is actually interesting. Because if we do discard Apocalypse, we could get some value. I'm going to play Victoria Hand right because I feel like they're going to play some Nico stuff middle. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Silver Sable. So it is bounce. It is looking like some bounce over here. I do get Sif, which is cool. And if I can take Prio here, they Falcon. Okay. So there's a world where I can get some really good Juggernaut value. Can get some really good Juggernaut value. Okay. We are going to play... They're more prone to play stuff in Likala, so we're going to play Ghost Rider left. More prone to play stuff here because it's a location that really benefits them. But at the same time, I don't want to clog myself necessarily, and I do have Blade. So I'm going to play actually Ghost Rider here. And the only generated card I have right now is Apocalypse, which isn't that great. But if there's a way for me to discard more Apocalypse stuff, like if it's like, if I get Jug. Okay, so Galactus is going to get value. Nico turns Surge into a demon. Is that Sable middle? Okay, I need Juggernaut here. Juggernaut here would more than likely win me the game. Get Frigga. Okay. Okay. Okay, this does get very interesting now. We do get the Apocalypse value. We get another Blade. The Toxin. Monkey. Whoa. Whoa. So Demon, Surge, Sable. Sable's gone off twice. Sable's at 4 power. They go to 6. If they play all 3 middle, that's 24. Or no, Nico's only 4. So it's 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. Would be at 30. This would beat that. This, it just all depends on where these cards fall from that. Okay. The Nico Demon. Oh my gosh. Wait, that was actually perfect. That was actually like perfect. Oh my word. We start with 3 of our like 2 cost kind of enablers, and this is a pretty bad location for us. I won't even lie. This is a really bad location for us now. Okay, so we're gonna have to really rely on the feast here. That's my thought process. With Merlin, I think this is probably like a werewolf bounce or something, so not... Ooh. Not a fan there. If I float for Infinite... Just literally float for Infinite. I go Infinite into Blade Ghost Rider. Infinite right. A Poly gives him Goliath. Okay, that's a pretty good blessing for us here. Okay, they're going to end up cheating the right. Which, if they cheat right... I do this, that, that. And I get first steps. All right, so it's actually going to be this, that, that. I'll let them go ahead and cheat me here. Gwenpool. Once in future on the Goliath. Go Black Knight into first steps Galactus. And then I have the Ghost Rider to bring him down here. He also gets buffed again. All this extra energy for us too. They have 3 cards in hand. We have enough energy to combat what they're doing, was my thought process here. So I go Blade. Go this, that. Chi, Shadow King. Go Chi, Shadow King. So it's this. Sorry. That. And we rip it and ship it. Or I don't think there's, I think, no, actually this. Let's go Frigga here. Let's leave that there. And this should be pretty good. I like what we are working with here, my friends. Werewolf's going to bounce a bit. They have, I think, 4 cards in hand right now. One of them is a spell, so they may have 5 cards in hand. Might be more like 5 cards in hand, if that makes sense. So this looks pretty good for 8. I'm putting Werewolf on screen because they're taking a hot minute, and I don't want them to be stream sniping, just in case. All right, what do we got? What do we have? They polymorph, which gives them Brood into Werewolf Middle. They Nico. Nico times 2 is really good. Wow. Into Shang-Chi. So Shang-Chi is big power there. Into Sasquatch. But we add the Breakers. Sweet! Let me Ghost Rider. All right. What is Guapo playing tonight? What is the Guapo? Wow. We have Black Knight into Redshift Infinite. So that is why this is a turn 1 snap. Black Knight into Red Shift Infinite, and we do draw Ghost Rider. Yup. That'll be sick. And we get Taskmaster. Taskmaster's pretty cool. Taskmaster is pretty darn cool. Ronan makes this interesting. Merlin, Hawkeye. Okay, I see what we're messing around with here. So I go Jin. The Blade. They Werewolf, Nico, Jin. Yeah, I thought they'd be playing Bounce. That makes sense, which means they are going to be running probably Shadow King here, if I were to bet. Silver Sable, which moves this middle. And then they have Omniversal, which get, oh my gosh. Okay, go Jin. Into the Blade. And then I'll go Taskmaster, Valentina. And then I have Ronan and I have first Ghost Rider to mess around with you. You got Taskmaster, Valentina. Oh my god, wait. Wait. No. They had to change location again, right? Okay. And then I go Victoria Hand. I go Victoria Hand. I go Shadow King, right? If I go Victoria Hand. They have 8 energy. There's Victoria Hand. Blade. And then Hella gives me... Let's go Blade. Let's do that. I mean, it's a 50-50 kind of Hella thing here, but... They Jin into Hawkeye. Big werewolf things here. Polymorph to Grandmaster on the Hit Monkey. Okay. Into Nico. And is that Shadow King? What do we got left? Silver Sable left. That was a lot of power. That was a lot of power. But getting Hella from Valentino is crazy. Wow. And the top deck Victoria Hand also helped. Purple Cosmic is very nice. All right. Ooh. Wait, this could kind of cook. You haven't put it on him, though? Oh. Interesting. Please play a card in Otto's lab. Please. 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 Please play a card in Otto's lab. I will love you forever. I will love you forever. What is this setup? Oh, you get my Infinite. You get my Infinite. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh my. Wow. What a game. What a game. They're about to play Infinite, by the way. They are about to play Infinite. They have a 20 powered Infinite. Or they have a 3-cost Infinite. 3-cost Infinite with 20 power. You got Redshift and Fantacar in the same pack area? That is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, this feels... There's Infinite. There's Nico. Galactus value. We get Redshift too? I go... Ebony Blade. I lose to, like, Shadow King here. So I'm... Do I like new G-Man better than old G-Man? I mean, I didn't play a lot of original Galactus. I think that's part of it. Go this middle, pull down a card. I pull down their Victoria hand. They Prodigy Invis into Havoc. Okay. So Havoc goes off at least 2 times here. I do Redshift, makes it a 50-50. So this goes up. They go to 18. 18 here. They have to fight. This would tie the 26. They do have another Nico. This is 50-50. Yeah. This was a 50-50 with Redshift here to either get First Steps Galactus back or to get the 18 power Infinite. So I was kind of fighting for all 3 lanes, and they like had to like play Havoc again here. And the Havoc they get here only gets up to 10, I believe. Or they get 10 power here. So I guess they technically would have had 28. But they have to play Havoc, and then I'm adding another 18, 23 left. Which I guess technically... Do I actually... 23, I lose left lane here. I actually lose left lane with that play. They did... they did change that recently. I think like a patch or a season or 2 ago. Yeah. All right, we got Zabobert. Okay. Some more Fantastic Car stuff. Mr. Fantastic with the ink black Kirby. There's a Darkhawk bundle right now. Is it a web shop exclusive bundle right now to me? Ooh. We do get an interesting line here. Darkhawk package. Okay, gotcha. I was confused for a second. They Cosmo Nico. That's cool. That is cool. Oh yeah, no, Stardust is gonna be freaking disgusting. It is gonna be disgusting. Sunspot, Negasonic. And 10 streams in a row for the Timster? Let's freaking go, bro. I could do this, that. a snap in here? And then... This should be good. Invis, Havoc. Sweet. Sweet. Juggernaut just wins games, my friends. Juggernaut just wins games. We get Binks. Binks. What is Binks messing with? All right. What do we have? Oh, what do we have? We do have a Valentina. We do have the Bifrost. Let's generate some cards first so he doesn't necessarily know what we're playing. Aha. Ooh, a Helicarrier! Fenris Wolf, no! No! Wait, unless? Wait, unless? Unless, let's have a little fun. Let's have a little fun! Yeah! You get a card! You get a card! You get a card! What is this game? Aha! Oh, no, no. My Helicarrier's gone! No! Not the heli! Oh, no! I don't like the Helicarrier being gone. What did I just discard? All right, the Goblin. I got the Goblin. Let's do that into that. This into that. Is this? I mean, I guess maybe that could have been a snap. Mercury! No! No. Not the Mercury. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Oh, the Galactus would have been sick. We do that. Juggernaut middle. Cannonball goes right. Into stature. Cool. That was a pretty cool line. That was a pretty cool line. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys stuck around to the very end, let me know down below, what deck guides would you guys like to see this week? We have 5 new cards. Do you guys have an order potentially of what cards you would like to see, or do you only want to see a couple? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like we want to make a lot of different deck guides. So just let me know down below. Also, if you guys are playing in the tournament this weekend, let me know if you guys are playing in the tournament. I will be playing in the tournament as well. And definitely feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. It's been real. God bless, and Tucker out.